Hello, and welcome to the 190th edition of Beer Issues. My name is Matt Bruckert, and I'm coming to you today with another outstanding beer here from Casa de Bruckert. Today we're going to be having the Boulevard 6 glass, which is a Belgian style quad or quadruple. So let's go ahead and get this open, and we'll talk a little bit about it while we're opening it. And we're gonna go and do some pretty serious talk about it because I've never had this beer. I didn't think there were too many Belgian style triples out there that I had not had until I realized, I've had some of the other Boulevards. I've had like the barrel age and some of the different ones, but I had never actually had the quad, which is one of my favorite styles of beer. So let's go ahead and pour this and get this going. Now, let me tell you right now, if appearance is anything, this beer is going to be phenomenal. I do not even have to take a sip of it to know that it's going to be a good, high quality beer. We've got the perfect color for a Belgian quad, which is going to be like a light chestnut brown with a just slightly off white head with good retention. So we got, even though I poured it kind of soft, we still got good head with good retention. So right off the bat, we're off to a good start. Now this beer does clock in at a 93 out of 100, which makes it an outstanding beer, right on the edge of world class. So that's saying a lot. Now this beer's out of Kansas City. That's one thing that I failed to mention at the beginning. It clocks in at an outstanding 10.2% alcohol by volume. So this is not a beer that you're going to crush by the poolside. This is going to be a sipper. And please make sure it is a sipper, because if you pound too many of these, you're going to go to bed early. All right, so we got the color, the amber chestnut brown type combo color, the off-white head. So let's smell it. Oh. Okay. So right off the bat, you do get the Belgian yeast smell, okay? But there's a sweetness that I'm picking up in here. I don't know if that's like they sweetened it with the Belgian candy sugar, but like a dark fruit also. And maybe there's a spice there. I think that's a little bit of maybe some clove on the end. But whatever it is, we have a concoction here, and I can tell you there's definitely a sweetness, and a lot of times with the Belgian quad, that sweetness comes from either like the Belgian candy sugar, which is one of the options, but there's some other things that they do with during the brewing process that kicks up that alcohol. But there's definitely a sweetness to this, which is quite delightful in the smell. I do smell also like a caramel, and that's typical. You get that in a lot of Belgian quads, like a caramel flavor that they derive from the many malts that they use. So you'll get a caramel, sometimes a little toffee type flavor in there. But a Belgian quad, even though it is really boozy, it comes across a lot of times as a little bit sweeter. So it kind of disguises the extent of the alcohol that's in the beer, which sometimes makes it dangerous unless you know what you're doing. You just have to be cautious. Like I said, you don't pound these around the poolside. These are sipper beers, okay? So let's go ahead, let's dig in. That beer is superb. That is very good and very deserving of the 93, maybe even a little bit higher. I want to take a couple more sips to make sure that I'm getting all the flavors in there. But the taste follows the nose. I do taste the caramel, the caramely type taste in there. You get the taste of the good yeast that they're using. They're using a high quality yeast in there, Belgian type of yeast, which is really bringing out the flavor of the beer. I do get like the dark fruits flavors, and that's really derived from the malts that they're using in there. That's also giving you the caramel flavors. They don't actually add these ingredients like we've talked about before. It's just the ingredients that the malts or the hops bring forward in it. You know, like your IPAs, you get tropical fruit flavors. That's not from tropical fruits for the most part. It's just that they use the hops that derive those flavors. And it's the same way with the malts. So you use the right malts, you get the caramel flavors, you get the different thing. But this is just an outstanding beer. That is really good. Now, I don't know if that's Belgian like candy sugar that they use in so many different triples and quads, but if not, it almost tastes as if there's like a brown sugar that's in there. So you're getting like a brown sugar, caramely, kind of delightful. Now you can taste the booze in this. You know that you're drinking something that's not a Budweiser. You know, it has a taste, but it doesn't taste quite 10.2%. If I was to put a percentage on it, might taste like a 7 or something like that, 7 or 8, as opposed to actually being a 10. But you do get, at the end, you get that like alcohol kind of tickle in your throat almost, just to kind of remind you that you're drinking a 10% beer. But they really did it outstanding. You know what I'm going to do? Beer Advocate gives this a 93. I'm going to give it a 95. I'm going to put it into world class because I think that it's that good of a representation of a Belgian quad. Okay, Belgian quads aren't the most difficult, but to get it right, people make a Belgian quad and it'll come out good or pretty good, but to get one that's this tasty, they're hard to come by, and I give them all the credit in the world. Only 22 IBUs, so it's not bitter. You don't get any kind of bitterness. It's got a nice sweet, caramely, dark fruit type flavor. It's just phenomenal. So if you've enjoyed this, make sure you tell your friends about Beer Issues and how much fun we're having talking about great beer and drinking great beer. And make sure that they subscribe. We are on a quest to see how many people we can get signed up for Beer Issues. So one day, companies like Boulevard and other great beer companies out there will send me this beer to sample and talk about. So make sure you have your friends subscribe. If you want any cool Beer Issues gear, make sure you go to shop.beerissues.com for t-shirts, hats, whatever kind of great Beer Issues gear you might need. And as my wife likes to say, I have beer issues.